Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome, guests. Have you ever come across one of those ideas or thoughts that left you kind of sitting there just scratching your head? It goes against everything you ever thought was normal. It goes against everything you were taught to believe. Well, when you look at this statement here, does this go against what you were raised to believe? Probably not. Our parents told us, our grandparents told us, that fat does make you fat, right? Well, what if I throw this not in there? Does this kind of spark a little bit of curiosity in your minds? Because this goes against what we're raised to believe. Some of you may agree, some of you may not. Well, tonight, my plan is to convince you that fat does not make you fat. And I'm going to do that two ways. One, I'm going to discuss some of my personal experiences. And I'm also going to discuss this process called ketosis. About 3 years ago, I woke up one morning and I jumped on the scales, and by the way, these are not my feet. Trust me, I don't paint my toenails. And I looked down at the scales, and I was quite astounded. I was 278 pounds. And the first thing that went through my head was like, wow, I'm 22 pounds away from being 300. That's crazy. So right away, I knew I had to do something, but I had no idea what to do because I've tried several things. I've tried LA weight loss. I've tried low-fat diets. I've tried tagging along my wife to Weight Watchers, and none of it worked. I found 2 or 3 days into it, I'm just ravaging. I'm just starving and hungry, and I ended up binging. So a friend of mine mentioned to me, hey, why don't you try a low-carb diet? And of course, I was a little reluctant because when I hear the word Atkins, you hear a lot of people carping on Atkins because the first thing you think about, you think high cholesterol, you think heart attacks, that kind of thing. And I figured, well, you know what, I'm almost 300 pounds, I'm heading towards a heart attack anyway, so I might as well try out Atkins, a low-carb diet. So before I went at it, I decided I'm going to go to the doctor, get tested first. I got my cholesterol tested, I got my sugars tested, all that kind of stuff. My cholesterol was up, my sugars were up, so I was heading down a bad path. And about 5 months later, I got rechecked again. And after just 5 months, I dropped 45 pounds. I lost 5 inches off my waist. My good cholesterol shot through the roof. My bad cholesterol lowered and it all evened out. My sugars dropped and everything went in normal range. So by eating a high-fat diet, which goes against what everybody normally thinks, it actually improved my health and improved my weight, my lifestyle. So how does this actually happen? It happens through a process called ketosis. I'm not going to go into a technical discussion on it, but basically your body burns 3 fuel sources. It burns carbohydrates, it burns fat, and protein for energy. The only time there's an exception to this is if you're downtown on George Street chugging back some tequila, because then alcohol jumps up and becomes the primary fuel source. So in ketosis, what you do basically to get into that phase is you limit your carbohydrate intake to about 20 grams a day. And that's not much. I mean, a small potato or a small slice of bread is 20 grams. But 3/4 of that is supposed to come from vegetables, like salads. And trust me, 15 grams of lettuce, full of carbs, is a lot of salad. So basically, after you limit your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams a day for about 3 or 4 days, you'll start to feel changes, and your body switches from burning carbohydrates for energy to burning fat for energy. And once that happens, you start shredding off the weight, you end up feeling a lot better, you're full of energy, you get just a lot of benefits come along with it. And just to give you a visual idea of how this actually affected me, I'm going to show you a couple pictures. This was in November 2009, and just a year later, just after on a low-carb diet, that was the results that I got. So basically, if you're going to learn anything tonight, you should learn to don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to go against the norm. I mean, just because you hear something on the news all the time doesn't mean it's actually correct. Because think about it. I mean, today we have this huge diabetes epidemic, and it's there for a reason. I'm willing to bet that we can change that by just changing one word, and that word was highlighted in yellow at the beginning of my slides. Fat does not make you fat. And if you're looking for any more information on this, these 3 books are actually pretty good. They have a lot of good information. Some of you may have recognized a couple of them, I don't know. But anyway, that's it. Remember, fat does not make you fat. Thank you.